We have online with us Chaguanas East MP, Vandana Mohit, and she's no stranger here to the Observer. Pleasant good evening. Welcome. How are you?
Pleasant good evening. I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you?
Well, a lot better hearing your voice because yesterday you were quite fiery with your, of course, uh, defending yourself and, of course, all the allegations that were leveled against you and the former partnership government. Tell us, on the basis of this Social Development Ministry and MasterCard scheme.
Well, of course, as I said yesterday, I know nothing about what that Minister of Social Development would have spoken about in the Parliament. I believe that they were just trying to justify, as I said, their reasoning for cutting food cards in this financial year, or cutting off the food card program, I should say, totally, so that the vulnerable would once again have to suffer. So I don't think that there's any merit to that, but we will continue the fight. The social sector is in shambles. The government, they are here trying to defend the social safety net, saying that they are catering for the vulnerable, which the population cannot see, feel, smell, touch, taste, and the population continue to suffer. So we are continuing the fight. The minister is trying to justify a lot of nonsense, I would say, but we are here to lay the facts on the table and to let them know that we can do it better. You would have seen the Cerebral Palsy Society of Trinidad and Tobago would have been evicted from the National Therapeutic Center, which they in Parliament said that they have a good relationship. The ministry has a good relationship with the Cerebral Palsy Society, yet they are evicting them. These helpless children who are doing so well with the therapy they are receiving, they have evicted them from the center. Where would they go? But what I would tell you here, Mikey, is the UNC, we are making provisions for these children. And before the end of next week, you will see something happening great for them.
But there was no justification, no logical explanation given for such a move. I mean, are you privy to exactly why, at this point in time, such a move was made?
I am not privy to any good reasoning. I was told that the minister did a visit at the center, and she was aware that they were undergoing therapy, the children, at that particular site when she did the visit, and she didn't even walk in to say hello to those persons. And on the Saturday, when they had the Cerebral Palsy Society had their monthly meeting, and they would have gone to the center, the security said to them that they are no longer allowed at the center. So that is an unexpected eviction, I would say, and no reasoning behind it. She's saying that how did he get in? But in questions asked and answered in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, it was clear that the ministry had been working at that time with the Cerebral Palsy Society, and they continue to, and they do have a good relationship, government after government, to the society. So no reasoning. They have evicted them, and these people have nowhere to go. Children are awaiting therapy. But as I said, we would be making arrangements to give them a facility to utilize in the meantime until better can be done. Yeah. Because what the government has done, they have totally shown disregard for persons with disabilities in this country.
And I mean, one of the major things that the government had as a responsibility, especially during the heights of the pandemic, was to ensure that the most vulnerable is taken care of. Those who need social assistance, grants, whatever have you. I mean, there was some distribution of hampers. We don't know how far that went. There has been no transparency in the distribution of those items. But at the same time, moving forward now, what can those who depend on the government for that assistance, who live below the poverty line, who, we need to make concessions to assist them, what plans were laid out that you understand clearly moving forward?
Well, as you would have seen in the budget, nothing really was outlined in terms of increases for the Social Development Ministry. In addition to that, you mentioned the pandemic. If you would recall, in 2023, 2022, 2023, persons were still awaiting income support grants from phase 1, which was 2020. So really and truly, what hope is there for people to look out for? only when we get back into government, because we really take care of the poor and vulnerable. In terms of what the population can look forward to, the vulnerable population, what I can say to the vulnerable population arising out of this budget is God help you.
Yeah, and okay. But again, I mean, there's so many people who travel from, well, can't even afford to travel to come into many of these locations to get these food cards. And usually people on the outside who hear about food cards and so forth seem to look at it as something as a political football rather than to really assist the people who are in need of these things. And when government plays with that, there has to be an understanding that it's people's lives that you're playing with. People who normally will not be able to work or accomplish anything as far as gaining, whether it's their own home or food. All of these things are needed, especially for those who are most vulnerable. We are hearing, of course, about a center for those who have been socially displaced, who we would look at as homeless, defined as homeless and vagrants, what have you. Now, this has been tried before. One has to ask the timing of this announcement. And what does that say as far as any plan at all to help those who are socially displaced?
As I have said before, trying to build a center for the socially displaced, nothing is wrong with that. But whilst that center is being constructed, what is happening on the streets? Where are the interagency units? Under our time, you would have seen 1,000 and something persons in the first year removed from the streets. You know, they would have graduated, they would have been put into skill set programs, etc., and they would have become something in life. We are waiting for the construction of a socially displaced center to deal with the socially displaced. What is happening in the meantime? Are we to wait until 2025 for this? In addition to that, persons are traversing the various, as you say, they have problems getting to the offices and whatnot. They are going to the various regional offices. People have problems on a daily basis. They go to these offices, they get a lot of runaround, as you would say in local parlance. They go to these offices, they apply, they get no feedback. If you look at the results of the Ministry of Social Development, based on what the minister has said, based on what the social sector investment programs outline, you will see that the result factor in terms of this ministry is very, very low. Imagine, Mikey, 11 grants in a whole financial year, 40 grants in a whole financial year given out in terms of minor house repairs, plumbing grants and whatnot. That is very low in numbers for a country of Trinidad and Tobago, and you are boasting about helping the most vulnerable? No. I think something is definitely wrong. The picture that they are painting for helping the vulnerable in society is a P&M picture. It has nothing to do with the realities of what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago.
And if you had to sum up this budget, I mean, many are saying it's an election budget. Some are saying that basically it's not possible to even bring about many of the things that have been stated in the budget. If you had to sum it up, especially for those who rely on the assistance from the government, what would it be?
As I have said yesterday in the Parliament, Trinidad and Tobago is in a state of undeclared emergency. This budget does not offer any hope for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and this emergency that we are in, we have to get out of it as soon as possible. This budget is not going to do anything for the vulnerable. For years, the vulnerable, they have been waiting, they have been looking on, and they have been asking, when would I really get assistance? So this emergency, if it's not dealt with as soon as possible, then forget the P&M because they are on their way out. We will be in serious danger and trouble.
Closing comments, because I know you have to get back in.
Yes, I have to get back in to support my colleague MP Hussein, who is doing a great job at this time. What I would say to the people of Trinidad and Tobago is to keep your hopes up. Keep the faith up. We are here with you. We are here supporting you. Despite the fact that we don't have access to government ministries directly, we are doing what we can on the ground level to ensure that we meet the people's needs directly in whatever small way we can. So keep up the faith, and we will be there shortly with you, hand in hand, to assist in whatever way when we get into government.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Mohit. Appreciate that, taking time out to link with us. Thank you so much indeed to shedding some light on that. Thank you.
Okay, so bye.
There you had Chaguanas East MP Vandana Mohit.